You never really understand how fragile your life is until the lights go out and don't come back on. Um, Not for a minute, not for an hour, but long enough that your brain starts whispering the question nobody wants to hear. How much of my comfort was actually just electricity pretending to be civilization? And the honest answer hits harder than you expect, because the first thing that collapses isn't your food or your water or your phone battery. It's your sense of control. You feel it dissolve piece by piece in the quiet that should feel peaceful, but instead feels like being left alone with a predator you can't see. Welcome to your first 48 hours without power, where the darkness becomes a mirror and what stares back is the version of you that forgot how to live without machines. The first hour is a joke. You think you can handle this. You even talk tough like you're auditioning for a survival show. You light a candle, sit smugly in the glow, and imagine yourself thriving in some post apocalyptic wasteland. But here's the catch: your body has spent years outsourcing basic tasks to electricity. Heat, cooling, cooking, water pressure. These things aren't conveniences, they're hidden life support systems. Take them away, and the veneer of control evaporates. You start noticing the temperature shifting. You start realizing how loud silence actually is. And you feel your brain trying to fill in that quiet with primal instincts that have been dormant for generations. Most people don't know that the human brain burns through roughly 20% of your daily calories just doing basic thinking. When the power goes out, that percentage spikes. You become hyper aware of every sound, every shadow, every missing convenience. Your threat detection goes into overdrive because your nervous system interprets unfamiliar environment as possible danger. That's why your heart beats faster in the dark, even though nothing is happening. Your brain is preparing for something to happen. That's survival biology 101, even if we've forgotten it under layers of LED lighting and streaming services. Around hour 3, hunger and water become real, not because you're starving, but because your mind starts asking logistical questions. Can you cook? Should you open the fridge? What happens when the tap pressure drops? Most people don't realize how fast refrigerated food warms up once airflow stops. The cold you think lasts forever, it starts fading immediately. So here's the first survival truth most folks don't know. The fridge becomes a countdown. Open it once, take what you need, and then leave it sealed like a crypt. Cold air escapes fast, warm air fills in faster, and the bacteria that make you sick love inconsistency. That first meal you choose before everything spoils, it matters. Proteins go first. Vegetables and condiments last the longest. And if you waste those precious minutes debating what to cook, you're already doing it wrong. When the sun goes down on your first powerless evening, you learn a new kind of darkness, the kind your ancestors lived with every night. And here's where things get interesting. Without screens, without sound, without glowing distractions, your circadian rhythm starts rebalancing itself. Melatonin production increases because your body finally understands it's nighttime. But your mind isn't used to natural cues, so you feel sleepy and wired at the same time, like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. Your thoughts get weird, looping in ways that feel almost dreamlike. This is normal. Your brain is recalibrating to a world it was designed for but hasn't visited in years. By hour 12, you begin learning the second major survival truth. Light isn't just illumination, it's security. Humans are diurnal creatures. Our eyes are built for day, not night. When the lights disappear, your depth perception quietly collapses. Your gait changes, your breathing becomes shallow, and biologically speaking, your brain starts scanning the dark for predators that no longer exist. It's not fear, it's instinct, carved deep into your DNA. That's why even with a candle or flashlight, you feel exposed. The light doesn't push the dark away, it just carves out a fragile bubble inside it. Then comes the cold, or the heat. Both are equally cruel. Without climate control, your home shifts toward whatever the outside world decides it should be. And the human body is a diva when it comes to temperature. Drop below 64 degrees Fahrenheit indoors, and your metabolism kicks into a higher gear, burning calories just to keep warm. Climb above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and your hydration needs double without you even noticing. Most people think survival starts with gear. It doesn't. It starts with managing your core temperature. That candle you lit earlier, Turns out it gives off enough heat to raise the temperature of a small insulated space by a few degrees. A trick that sounds simple until you realize it might be the difference between shivering for hours or sleeping like a human instead of a reptile. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. By hour 18, hydration becomes the real concern. Tap water may still work at first because city systems hold pressure, but the moment the pumps stop, gravity wins. Water tanks drain, reservoirs stall, and people who assume my faucet will be fine for a while often get a brutal surprise. The smart move is to fill everything immediately: sinks, tubs, pots, bottles, anything that holds water. Not because you'll need gallons right away, but because future you will hate past you if you don't. Water isn't just for drinking, it's hygiene, cleaning, cooking, cooling, and psychological comfort. Humans calm down around water, it's wired into us. And in a crisis, calm is as valuable as calories. Somewhere around hour 24, you start understanding what loneliness actually is. Not the modern kind that shows up in group chats, but the ancient kind that whispers, "You are not in control." Time stretches, sounds sharpen. You develop what survival instructors call environmental paranoia, a constant awareness of your surroundings that feels like anxiety but is actually your brain adapting to threat conditions. And whether you like it or not, your mind starts running scenarios. What if the outage spreads? What if this is bigger than a storm? What if the grid doesn't bounce back? You're not panicking, you're planning. Humans evolved to think in worst case scenarios because the optimists didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. In hour 30, hunger becomes more math than emotion. You start calculating calories instead of cravings. Non perishables become currency. Peanut butter, gold. Rice, better than gold because it's comforting. Canned beans, a miracle that lasts forever and smells terrible but keeps you alive. Here's the strange part. When you live without power, your meals turn into rituals. You eat slowly, deliberately, without distraction. Your brain pays attention to taste again. And when food becomes precious, you stop wasting it. For once, you eat like energy matters, because it does. Sleep on the second night feels different, deeper, more primitive. No blue light, no buzzing devices, just darkness and your own breathing. And for the first time, something surprising happens. Your body relaxes. Not because conditions got better, but because your instincts have finally adapted. The human nervous system is built for flexibility. It complains loudly during change, but settles quickly once it understands the rules of the new environment. You start to feel capable again, almost competent. That's the funny thing about hardship. Your brain resists it until it doesn't. By hour 40, you're learning the final and most important survival truth. Life without power is entirely possible, just drastically different. You realize how many tasks require zero electricity, but full attention. Repairing things, organizing, planning, conserving, cooking with alternative heat sources, managing light, managing time, managing yourself. And strangely, you feel a kind of pride, not the dramatic, heroic kind, just a quiet recognition that you're built to handle more than you've ever needed to prove. And when the power finally flickers back, your first reaction isn't joy, it's hesitation. The hum of appliances sounds almost invasive. The sudden brightness feels unnatural. Your brain, which spent 2 days adapting to the dark, doesn't immediately welcome the intrusion. You realize you've just lived through a tiny preview of collapse. Not the Hollywood version, but the quiet, psychological one that starts with a click and ends with a lesson. Civilization runs on electricity, but survival runs on mindset.